Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about these three blue planes. So in the previous video we just clicked on any one of these planes and we started doing a sketch. But if you look closely at these planes, you'll see they do have names. So we have what's called a front plane, a top plane, and a right plane. And some people may wonder, is there a correct plane that we're supposed to click on? Which plane is which? And that's what we're going to look at today. Now, to understand what these three planes really mean, what we're going to do first is we're going to look at a technical drawing. So here's an example of a technical drawing. And I've added a few little things on here. What I added, you could see it says top view, front view, and right view. And as you can see, this is similar to what we just saw in Solidworks, where we had a top plane, a right plane, and also a front plane. So what you see here in the drawing, this is what you're going to see in just about most technical drawings. And this layout is going to be the same. Okay? In the upper left corner, we have what's called a top view. In the bottom right corner, we have the right view, and in the bottom left is the front view. Now this can actually be pretty easy to remember because it makes a lot of sense how this is laid out. You'll notice the top view is kind of located up here at the top of the page, and the right view is located over here on the right side of the page. So that kind of makes things a little bit easier to remember which view is which. Now what these views are doing is they are kind of isolating different sides of this three-dimensional part that you see in the upper right corner. And this is what's called the isometric view. So if you kind of look at these views, you can see the top view. If you were to look at this three-dimensional part and you kind of look down at the top of the part, kind of like from a bird's eye view, you would see this shape is what you would see right here in the top view. Same thing for the front view. Now the front view, this is kind of if you're looking at the part kind of from the left side. This shape that you see right here is what you see right here in the front view. Same thing for the right view. This is if you're looking at the part kind of over from the right side. And this layout, it's going to stay the same, depending on whatever type of part you're trying to build. And I'll just show you a few different examples here. So I've got a part brought up right over here, and I'm just going to kind of navigate through some of the different views. So right now we are in the isometric view. So this is a three-dimensional view. We can see the front view, we can see the right view, and we can also see the top view. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of isolate some of these views. So I'm going to start by opening up my view navigator. And there's two ways. You could click this icon up here where it says view orientation, or you can hit the space bar and you'll get this little glass cube. And you can select different faces that you want to isolate. So for example, if I want to just look at the top view, I can click the top of this part and it's going to kind of zoom in on that top view. So let's see what it looks like. So this is the top view. Okay, so we are just looking at the top of this part. I'm going to hit spacebar again, and I'm going to click this little icon up here. It says isometric, and that's going to take me kind of back to like my home view. We could take a look at the front view, and we could go back, and then we could finally take a look at the right view. Okay, so those are the three different planes. Now some people, they then ask, well, if I'm going to build a part, which view do I start in? So let's take a look at a couple different parts, a couple different drawings here. And what you kind of have to do is you kind of have to think about how are you going to build the part. And for example, if you're trying to build, let's say, a cylinder that we see right here, you got to think to yourself, if you want to build a cylinder, we all know in SolidWorks you got to start with a two-dimensional sketch. And when we say two-dimensional, what we're talking about are circles and squares and lines. When we talk three-dimensional, we're talking things like cylinders and cubes. So if we want to build this cylinder, we're going to have to start with a 2D sketch, and we're going to have to start with a circle. So if you look at these three views, for example, in the front view, we see actually more like a rectangular shape. Same with the right view. And in the top view is where we have our circle. So you got to think to yourself, if I want to build a cylinder, I'm going to have to start by drawing a circle. And then you can look at these views and you would see, okay, the circle is up here in the top view. So that means if you were to build this part, you would want to go extrude to boss base, and you want to select the top plane in order to build that part. So let's take a look at a few more examples. Okay, so in this part, another good way to figure out which view you want to start in, a good rule of thumb is whichever view typically has the most dimensions or the most overall kind of detail is usually the view that you want to start in. So if we take a look at this part, we can see in the top view up here and the front view down here, there's not really a whole lot of detail going on. We just see one dimension here in the front view. But if you take a look at the right view, we see a lot of detail. We see this full shape. We see lots of dimensions. So in this case, you would probably want to start off in the right view. In this part, we can see there's quite a bit of detail up here in the top view. So that would probably be the view that you would want to start in. And after a while, when you're looking at these parts, you're going to get very quick at determining which view to start in. You're going to be able to bring up a drawing, and immediately you're going to notice, okay, this view, I want to start in the front view for this specific part. Now, one skill that you do want to be able to get good at is being able to look at these drawings, these top, front, and right views, and being able to actually kind of create an image in your mind of what that part is going to look like. And there's a really great resource that I use with my students. And the way you can find it is if you Google search Whisk Online Brain Exercises. These are really good exercises. What they do is they basically give you the top view, the front view, and the right view. And then they give you 4 different parts to choose from. So you have to kind of compare these 3 views to those 4 individual parts and try to figure out which technical drawing matches up the best with the different isometric parts that they show you. So this is a great resource. There's 3 different exercises. The first one is kind of an introduction, and then number 2 and number 3, they do get a little bit more difficult. But I would suggest going through these different exercises. Very, very helpful in kind of developing that visualization skill. So that right there is different views. Remember, we have a top view, a front view, and a right view. And generally, when it comes to, which view you're going to start in, if you're building based off of a technical drawing, you can look at which view has the most details, which one has the most dimensions are usually good indicators. And also, you just have to picture how are you going to build that part. So hopefully this helped out, and have a great day.